How about DC retiring last week officially on this program? Get it straight. You didn't retire in the ring on August 15th. You didn't retire afterwards on social media. You retired on this show. I want the record to show that you officially retired on this show, and you announced your intention to leave the USADA? No, the USADA pool.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
The
You in
USADA
jail,
pool.
bro. Jail goes USADA. If you say WUSADA, boy, Ariel and the bad guy don't know how to pronounce USADA.
Anyway, literally 5 hours later, we get word that Brock is a free agent, and then we all start going crazy. Is he coming to UFC? There had to have been a part of you like, come on, Brock. Come on, man. One more time. Are you on this show? Will you officially re-enter the pool and say you're sticking around for one more fight? Break some news for us.
No, I'm done. I want to wrestle with Brock.
Here?
I want to wrestle with Brock in the WWE. You know, that's where I want to fight Brock. I want to fight him on his terms. I don't want to fight, but I mean, you know, two old guys in the UFC octagon, you know, going at it, 43, 41. That seems fun. But boy, me and Brock at WrestleMania, that would be a good time. Wow. I mean, really? You're coming with me. You're coming with me too. You absolutely are coming with me if I wrestle Brock. Man,
what kind of role will I have? Will I be like a mouthpiece? Can I be a manager?
So what I'm going to do, what I want you to do is talk. We're going to talk our talk, right? We're going to be like, Brock, you were so afraid that we have to follow you into your world, Brock.
Yes.
We followed you into your world because we want this. We wanted this. You never showed up, Brock. I waited and didn't retire because I waited for you. So we showed up into your world. And then once the match starts, we're going to just cheat him. The whole time I want you cheating. I want you tripping him. I want you getting on the side of the apron, distracting him. I want you just giving me a chance to beat Brock Lesnar. That's it.
I'll handle Heyman. I got Heyman.
You got Heyman.
Yeah, I got Heyman. Don't worry about that. We'll walk out with shirts. Push me now. Get slept later.
Oh,
right?
my goodness. It writes itself. It writes itself. But slow build.
Yeah, slow build.
I'd like to be 42 and a half by the time it pays off. 43-year-old WrestleMania, I could do.
Wait, you're talking next year's WrestleMania? I'm thinking April.
I don't know if that a year and a half. I don't know if the build simmers enough for me. I want a year. I want at least 12 months of a build before I get locked in the octagon. Because honestly, if I'm being honest, I think they mismanaged the Brock Lesnar Kane thing. It was too fast. They should have built it. You got to build these types of things. These things that have the story already written, you got to build these. So yeah, I'd wrestle Brock in the WWE, and fighting Brock in the UFC. I mean, I don't know. I never really thought about it.
What do you mean you never thought about it? It was like a 1 year long story.
Well, back then, I'm talking about
right now.
Back. Yeah, I never really even thought about it.
Okay. By the way, I know you guys are sort of tight. Breaking the fourth wall here.
We are. That's my guy.
What's he doing?
Right now? Probably weighing his options. Just weighing his options.
What a businessman, huh?
That's the thing about Brock, right? Brock has so many opportunities, man. Like every time he says this, he gets paid more to stay there. I mean, it's great. And every time he comes back to the UFC, it only builds his persona and builds like that thing about him over there and in the entire world. So Brock has not made a bad decision when it comes to negotiating between two companies.
So this one is a little different because usually he does it a little more publicly and he kind of shows up to events and he lets the world know that he's, playing footsie with the UFC and WWE. He'll take a picture with Dana White. My guy, John Pollock of postwrestling.com, told me that he's actually been a free agent for a few months. And what happened was they had to take him off the website, I think it was, because his merchandise deal went up. And then I think a PW Insider found out about it. So I don't think he's as much, kind of playing the field. But Dana White saying last week, hey, I'd be into it if Brock is into it, if Jon Jones is into it, that sort of thing. Lets me believe that Dana's interested. Ultimately, I don't think Brock wants to go through a training camp. I don't think he wants to get punched in the face. I don't think he wants to do all that stuff. I think he eventually goes back to wrestling because he's treated like a star over there.
Makes so much money there too.
Makes so much money. But now you got me thinking, a DC versus Brock at WrestleMania. I mean, that is big business right there.
Big business.
You're fighting to exact revenge for your friend Kane, who got, smoked by him a couple months ago. Maybe even Rosendo shows up to push him one more time.
We just recreate the whole thing. I mean, that's the payoff.
I get to be involved. That's really what's most important.
It's the payoff.
I get to be involved.
It would be amazing. Listen, man, wrestling is where it's at. But honestly, if Brock fought, I would like to see Brock fight somebody. You know, I mean, championship level right now, is he? You know, like you have to ask yourself, is he championship level now? Because when we did that whole thing, that was in 2018. You know, so 2 years removed now, 4 years from the last fight. Is he championship level? I don't know. Put him in there with someone that he can compete with.
Well, I feel like I would be remiss if I don't ask. What do you think of the Jones Brock idea?
I think it's a big fight, big, massive fight, but I don't know how well Brock does in that fight. I think Jones has the wrestling ability to keep him off of him, and if they're forced to stand, I think it'd be a 1-round fight.
Really?
Yeah.
1-round fight. You think Jones?
I don't know. I don't know if he beats him in 1 round. I'm just messing around. I'm trying to piss Brock off, but I'm trying to work the angle, baby. I'm working the angle, Ariel. I'm working the angle. I'm trying to get him mad. I'm trying to get him mad so he wants me.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm gonna kind of no sell the idea, you know. Sure. I don't know. I don't know.
And by the way, he hates me too, so this is perfect.
Who?
Brock hates
Lesnar?
me. Yeah, you know, UFC 200. He no-sold me. Breaking news. Remember at the press conference, UFC 200, I asked him how many rounds he sparred, and he looked over at you. What did he say to you? Do you remember that press conference? Because I said Eddie Alvarez. I got up at the press conference and I said, Eddie Alvarez says he sparred 10,000, I think, hours or something crazy, right? I was like, hey, Brock, by the way, because the whole talk going into that fight against Mark Hunt was that he like hardly trained for it, right? I was like, by the way, how many rounds did you spar? And he looked over at you like, who is this joker over here?
No, listen. I love sitting next to the press conference with Brock because the whole time he's coaching me. Brock coached me the whole time. The whole really? Press conference, he coached me. He was like, hey, he goes, who is that guy? That's what he told me when you asked that question. He goes, what kind of, because you know, Brock is kind of, he cusses. He goes, what in the world? He goes, who is that? I was like, just don't worry about it. Don't pay him no mind. But the whole time, when I would start to get fired up, he's like tapping me, like, don't engage with him. Like, he's like, it's just, he was just telling me not to like don't roll in the dirt with Jones, essentially.
Right.
He was coaching me the whole time. Like, it was the funnest press conference. And I love the way Brock engages with you guys. He don't give you much.
Oh,
he does not give you as much.
But he acts like he's like a million times better than all of us. Like he looks down on us.
Is.
Well,
Brock Lesnar's better. Like, listen, Brock, I'm gonna say this to you right now. Brock Lesnar's better than you.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
In
what regard?
In every way. Hey, he's better. He's just better than you. He does a lot. He's look at him. He's a national wrestling champion. How many national championships you got?
Exactly. That's what I said. In what regard?
How many national championships do you have?
How many Journalists of the Year awards?
Let me ask you this. Wait, stop. How many national championships do you have?
0.
Okay. Brock has made what? $40 million wrestling. How many millions of dollars do you have?
Well, I'm just trying to make me feel horrible about myself.
Brock is a
How many TV shows does he have on ESPN?
Brock has okay. You win in a couple categories because you're my guy. Hey, look, DC only loves one of you two, and that's you, my man. So I'm Team Ariel.
First of all, you're trying to get in his bad graces, and you're trying to prop him up and say that he's better than me. This is completely.
Well, he is better than you. It's just a reality. Listen, he's better than you. Accept it.
I think in a 2-round wrestling match, I think that I can hang with Brock.
With Brock, yeah, you could.
Yeah,
you could. Because you had that thing on your head. You were doing the boxing.
Yes,
you can fight him.
That's right.
Something just hit me. You might be able to fight Brock Lesnar. There's 2 guys you can fight. You can fight Ben Askren. You can fight Brock Lesnar. You think that's what you're telling me?
Both have. Whose striking is worse, Brock or Ben Askren?
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.